Okay, how's it going, everybody? I'm glad to see that I've been getting about five views on these videos lately. I didn't expect to get that many for like a month. Continue on. I'm sorry for the abrupt stop last time. I want to get further into this, and I wanted to stop last episode after the conversation with her. So we'll see where we get to today. So anyway, now that we're good friends, don't you think it's time you introduce yourself? Or is it a human custom to errantly ask questions of somebody they're meeting for the first time? Rather than reciprocate Tick's passive aggressive, I inhale deeply, then look in her eyes. Right, where are my manners? My name is Sable. I'm an 18-year-old human, and this is my first time living in a dorm or having a classmate. I'll try not to inconvenience you, so if I do anything wrong, please don't hesitate to tell me. I smile and bow my head immediately, exhaling a gasp of surprise from Tix. Whoa, that was pretty good. How did you put on a genuine smile like that while harboring such negative emotions? I tilt my head up and gaze at Tix in confusion. Negative emotions? Yeah, you were just feeling something like grr. I'm so jealous of this beautiful pixie. But the whole time you had a bright smile on your face. How'd you do that? Most of the humans who I've met can't mask their feelings at all. I'm honestly taken aback by Tick's words. Although her words don't match my thought, she's completely right about me harboring negative feelings towards her, despite my smile. Most people would point out that my feelings were obvious given Tick's rude words, but from the way she spoke, Tix made it sound like she could feel what I was feeling. Can you read thoughts? Thoughts? Oh no, not at all. I simply noticed the changes in your complexion, breathing, and posture. That's crazy. Despite the smile you wore, you took a defensive stance, your breathing quickened, and a slight tinge of red appeared on your face. For a race which survives by reading danger signals from predators, gauging the emotions of a human being is frightfully simple. Wow, you're really one scary fairy, you know that? What did you just call me? Oh, I was just saying that. A fairy, was it? You think I'm a fairy? No? I instinctively back away as Tix emanates danger unbefitting her small stature and cute face. Her face is low and her eyes narrow. She looks like she's about to pounce at any second. Anyway, it's about time I return to the cafeteria. I wouldn't want to keep my new friends waiting. I'll talk to you later, okay? I walk past Tix and head for the door. The moment I reach for the doorknob, however, something takes hold of my arm. Oh, trying to escape, are we? That's how humans do things. You commit a grave offense, then walk away and pretend that it never happened. Is that what's going on here, my friend? Pain shoots up my arm as Tix tightens her grip. Contrary to her small size, Tix is able to exert tremendous pressure. I wouldn't expect that kind of strength from someone twice her size. Is it Trix or Tix? I'm gonna call her Trix, like the cereal. Is Trix using muscle reinforcement magic? Though the dangers are clear for humans, other species aren't necessarily exposed to the same risk posed by muscle reinforcement magic. For a creature without a skeleton, for example, they may not need to worry about their muscles growing too large and crushing their bones. The undead avoid the risk of passing out from a lack of blood. Large muscle-bound creatures like minotaurs can reach their strength many times over before noticing any side effects. In the case of a pixie, the risks are unknown to me. At the very least, it's safe to say that due to their apparently low survival rate in the wild, muscle reinforcement magic is well worth the risk. I'm terribly sorry, Tix. Please forgive me. It was a slip of the tongue. It won't happen again. I desperately plead to the predatory pixie holding me captive. Glares at me, looking deeply into my eyes as if she's trying to measure the sincerity of my statement. After a few seconds, Tick releases her grip and I breathe a sigh of relief. Why didn't you just say so? Of course you are forgiven. Oh, thank God. I quickly reach for the door, urgently trying to make my escape. Oh, but one more thing before you go. Hastily, I turn my head. Yes? Fairies and pixies are mortal enemies. There is no greater insult for a pixie than to be called a fairy, and vice versa. So watch what you say, okay? In response to Tick's warning, all I can do is nod silently, then vanish from her sight as quickly as humanly possible. After dealing with Ticks, no, I no longer feel like meeting up with Ray and F. Instead, I decide to head outside and resume my earlier tour of the campus, giving myself time to clear my head before my first lesson at the academy can begin. As I wander around the courtyard looking up at the classrooms from outside, reality finally begins to set in. Although I've been taking it easy so far, the fact of the matter is that I will soon be sitting in one of those classrooms, studying subjects not taught in any other facility. Ooh, my god. On this day, I've become a student of the let's just say Great Academy, or Secret Academy, what they teach. I have no idea what that word is. I burp a lot in these videos, I've been noticing. Like, indigestion is horrible for me. With all of the detours and encounters I've experienced so far today, it's hard to think of this as a day of study. Even so, that's exactly what it is, my first day at Magic Academy. It may seem surreal right now, but the reality of the situation is that I'll soon be sitting in a classroom filled with demi-humans studying my brain out. When I realize that, we likely won't be doing anything difficult or especially interesting on our first day of class, I am excited to begin nonetheless. To this day, I have remained completely self-taught. I have never been tutored in magic by someone more experienced than myself, or attended any lectures, or even befriended another magic user. Everything I know, I learned from researching the work of others and attempting to recreate it myself. I wonder if I'll be able to adapt to a classroom environment, as my game freezes just a little bit. Having attended normal schools until now, I have no doubt at an advantage compared to other students here like Draken. But as far as actually using magic in front of a class full of students is concerned, I shudder as I imagine myself failing miserably in front of my class. Even if I'm not socially awkward or afraid of crowds, relative speaking, at least using magic in front of others is certainly a big deal. During the entrance exam for the academy, I was required to perform basic spells in a private sitting with teachers and administrators. For that, however, I have never once used magic in front of a complete stranger. It's not that I'm ashamed to be a mage or embarrassed about my weak output. If anything, it's quite the opposite. I'm proud of myself. I take great pride in what I've accomplished using my own power. I strongly believe that I've realized certain truths about magic which nobody else has, and that I can do things nobody else has figured out how to. But if that's wrong, if I do my best in front of a classroom full of people, and nobody is impressed in the slightest, then where does that leave me? No, I can't afford to start thinking that way. I'm onto something. I have made discoveries that nobody else has. Even if my work is found to be derivative or similar to someone else's, my research was definitely not in vain, and it will have an impact on others. I'm going to become a world-renowned magic researcher. Just you wait and see. I consciously pump my fist in front of my body as I psych myself up. What are you doing? Whoa. I jump to the side as a bemused voice calls out to me from behind. Greeting me with a deadpanned expression is Leisha, who seems unfazed by my reaction. Leisha. I have been called as such, yes. Now, you will answer my question, Sable. If this is some kind of training or ritual, I would like to hear about it. Ponder Leisha's words for a moment as I think back over my actions. All I did was walk around with my head down, then pump my fist in front of me. A peculiar sight to be sure, but nothing worth thinking about. Just gonna explain properly. There's no reason to lie and say it's like huge. I sigh out loud then smile warily as I address Leisha. No, no, it's nothing like that. There's really no great meaning behind what I just did. It's certainly not something as important as a ritual. Oh, if there's no meaning behind your action, why did you do it? Scratch my head as I think about how to explain myself. I don't know. It's like, have you ever raised your arms above your head as a sign of victory? Or place your hands on your hips while reprimanding somebody? No, I've never acted in such a manner. How about crossing your arms when you're dissatisfied or tilting your head when you're confused? Nope, I have not. You're not making this easy. I hang my head in defeat. Never realized that such a basic behavior of beings could be completely absent from a race which is so similar to us biologically. No, wait, maybe Leisha does do all those things, but she simply lacks self-awareness. Nothing else, she at least seems to alter her facial expression in the same manners as everyone else. All of those actions you mentioned, are they common among human folk? I can understand the benefit of altering your stance as a means of conveying intent to a third party. However, the actions of which you speak all seem unnecessary, conspicuous, and exaggerated. Rather than using such actions to express intent, it seems to me like you humans simply enjoy... I have no idea what the fuck that word is. Yes, that might be the case. Oh, let me pause. Okay, I've had this recording paused for like 20 minutes. I still know what's happening. Just had to deal with some stuff. So we're back at it. Yes, that might be the case. Maybe it would be best if you just thought of these actions as supplementary methods of communication. Are they? In a manner of speaking, yes, though we mostly do it unconsciously. I see. Lisa's face warps slightly as she thinks over what I've told her. After a few moments of contemplation, she lowers her head and sighs. How foolish. Why would one wish to make their feelings so abundantly clear and easy to read? To unconsciously announce your feelings to others. I can only see this as a weakness, says the girl whose facial expressions match her every word. There's no maybe about it. This girl definitely lacks self-awareness. I decide against pointing out the fallacy in Leah's argument. Fake, I don't know. Instead, I changed the topic to something I actually want to discuss. So, Leisha, we meet out here once again. Did you come here straight after the opening ceremony? Indeed, I did. Why don't you go with everyone else to the cafeteria? Aren't you hungry? I could eat the pre-processed gruel served en masse by humans. I'm pretty sure none of the cafeteria staff here are humans. What's more, some of the dishes I saw on the menu were about as far from pre-processed as you can get. Be that as it may, I still feel no desire to eat in that stuffy room, surrounded by strangers on every side. I'd rather spend my time out here, sitting beneath the trees and breathing in fresh air. When you put it like that, I can't really blame you. But is that really okay? You might miss something important if you keep going off on your own. Are you truly in a position to say that? I can look up whatever information I need on my terminal. So even if I miss a few lectures, I'll be okay. That's right, isn't it? Isha displays frustration as I remember her of the ability which only one of us currently possess. In that case, I suppose it can't be helped. If I lose my way, I will come to you for support. Are you so misunderstood? I'm merely saying that I will be relying on you as a student to another. We are in the same class, after all. It's our responsibility as classmates to support one another. I like that. Unintentionally sharing her true feelings. You even looked up which class I've been placed in. I did no such thing. I was simply glancing through the names on my class list, and I happened to notice your name on there. It's not like I was searching for your name in particular or anything. Leisha defends herself in a fluster. Just desperately trying to convince me of the fact that she hasn't given me a second thought since our first meeting. You know, Alicia, when you get embarrassed, even your ears start to turn red. On an elf, that's actually quite cute. I am not embarrassed. Like nobody, Lisa clutches her fist and asserts herself once more. Aha, calm down, Alicia. I'm just messing with you. And your friends must have a lot of fun teasing you. A true friend would not seek to harass me in the first place. Where's the fun in that? I smirked to myself and inwardly thanked Leisha. While meeting up with Leisha was not part of my plan. When I first came out here, joking around with her has helped to improve my mood for the better. Even if she comes off as a bit unsociable, I think I'll be able to get along with Leisha. So, Miss Valedictorian, will you be coming to class shortly? Or do you plan on staying up here? A while longer. I won't show my face in due time. For the moment, however, I wish to refrain from fraternizing with the others any more than necessary. Fraternizing? I'm talking about our classmates. How could you already have a low opinion of them? I take it that you did not attend the opening ceremony. I raise an eyebrow. Alicia's words then shake my head. Not as much. On my phone later. Mingling with those cretins would be a waste of time. You'll see what I mean when you enter the classroom. Leaving behind those ominous words, Alicia begins to walk away, heading in the opposite direction of the academy. Wherever she's heading, it seems like Alicia's in no rush to join her classmates and before long, I shall find out why. Wary of Alicia's warning, I wait outside of my classroom for a few minutes before approaching the door. From outside, I can see through the glass panel on the door, and for a while, I have no idea why Alicia was so hesitant to enter. Students are all quietly sitting on their own or casually chatting with the person next to them. Some have their textbook out, others are playing with the physical terminals placed on their desk, meant as a stopgap until they can use the spell itself. No matter how many times my eyes scan the classroom, I fail to notice anything that would merit caution. And then it hits me. The moment I walk through the door, the volume of my classmates increases exponentially. Everyone is either sitting on their desk or standing grouped together in the middle of the classroom. I spot one student stuck to the ceiling, looking down the shirts of my female classmates. Another is standing at the front of the class trying out some spell akin to a party trick. Put simply, the entire room is in a state of chaos. What the heck is going on here? What happened to the quiet, well-behaved classmates I observed a moment ago? Was I just imagining things? Casting a glance back towards the door, I quickly understand what is going on. The sound-blocking spell on the door, illusionary magic on the glass. Though the strategic use of these two specialized yet not overly complicated spells, this class is able to fly under the radar, while doing as they see fit. Even our teacher would have a hard time punishing my classmates after seeing their creative use of such magic. I can see what Alicia was talking about. It's certainly more peaceful in the courtyard, away from these troublemakers. Maybe I should? Well met, dear prince. Mannequin. We're gonna see the SCP for the IKEA. Before I can turn around and head back out of the classroom, a strange being appears in front of me. Forgive me for approaching you so suddenly, but I'm afraid I had no choice. The moment I spotted you from across the room, I could not stop myself from making your acquaintance. The person in front of me places its hand on my shoulder. Leaning in close, it continues to whisper sweet words into my ear. Will you... God. The unique contours of your body, your supple flesh, there is not a speck of imperfection to be found. Your eyes, like gems, beckon me closer, even as common sense dictates otherwise. Pray, before I succumb to despair, would you grant this lowly being your name? Motionless, I continue to observe the peculiar person in front of me. It speaks praises with every breath and exudes a sense of mystery as I ponder its words. But above all else, what surprises me most of all is that I find myself strangely attracted to it. I'm Sable, Sable LeBeer. Sable, is it? Such a flirty, God, flirty. He is flirting. Such a fitting name for one as transcendent as yourself. Tell me more about yourself, Sable. From where do you hail? What is your family structure? Have you ever fallen in love? Face begins to form on the blank slate as it continues to speak. The soft, delicate features of a gorgeous young woman begin to manifest, transforming the canvas in front of me into a beautiful girl. My heart skips a beat as I attempt to respond. Who is this person, and how could their appearance change before my very eyes? No. Did they change, or did my mind simply blank out the moment I saw them? Sable, my love. Ah! My chest tightens once again. A radiant smile is beaming down on me, quickly sapping my strength. I can feel my lips quivering as our faces grow closer. I tell my body to back away, but it won't listen. My own feelings have rendered me powerless, impossible. Is this what it means to fall in love? To have my own body turn against me? To feel my heart beat harder and louder than ever before? It's almost like my eyes shoot wide open as I finally realize what's going on. Magic! Taking my eyes off the suspiciously attractive woman in front of me, I focus instead on the aether surrounding us. Wonder how hard or easy that is to do. Like tracking flow. It's more, I don't want to say random, but it's just kind of more everywhere. Surely enough, the air is filled with suspicious movements of aether, a clear indication that someone is currently casting a spell. Oh, so it sends like a ripple, makes them go. Okay. By analyzing the abnormal aether patterns in the air around us, I am able to trace the source of the closest abnormality back to an obvious source. Then I disrupt the suspicious flow, at which point my heart immediately begins to slow back down to its usual place. Then I disrupt the suspicious flow. Does that mean he could just disrupt any magic? I then disrupt the suspicious flow. That's much better. Love might be something outside of my comfort zone, but spells are well within my area of understanding. Seriously though, how could I have fallen for that? Even knowing that there was an illusionist in the classroom, I fell for such an obvious deception. How embarrassing. Thinking back over what I saw when looking through the glass pane on the door earlier, my conclusion is obvious. The creature in front of me excels in perception altering magic. I'm not in love, I'm just weak minded. Sable, my dear, sweet Sable, where have you been all my life? It feels like only now, with you by my side, I am truly. Back off, buddy. I push away the creature's hand, and its face returns to the blank state it once was, and yet, despite its lack of expressions, astonishment is evident on the canvas before me. My, that was fast. You are the first being to ever break my spell so quickly. The creature takes a step back, its voice filled with curiosity and joy. Now I really am interested in you. What manner of being are you? How highly are you ranked? I thought you were a mere human. But that is evidently not the case. I shake my head and sigh. I'm 100% human. I'm not even close to being highly ranked. If I'm the quickest to break your illusion, you're just picking easy targets. The corners of the creature's mouth, where one's mouth would usually reside, raise. Is this thing smiling? You give yourself too little credit, my dear. Before coming here, I ensnared all manners of being, old and young, male and female, noble and commoner. While you may not be highly ranked, you are undoubtedly quite observant. While the creature's words are not completely accurate, I can't deny that I'm observant in at least one regard. See, so he taught himself all of his own magic, and he was saying like he had his own like flow in the way he looked at everything, and he was talking about how he wanted to change the world of magic. So I wonder if, you know, in the stupid isekais where they think of stuff outside the box that no one else has, but it's just because they're thinking of things in our world. I wonder if it's like similar, where he just has all these other thoughts. Well, not because he's reincarnated, but he has all these other thoughts that's different from everybody else's, and it makes him stronger than he thinks. He only thinks he's weak because he's human. Aether, the mystical energy which courses through the bodies of all living things. Aether is all around us. It pulses through the core of the planet, flows along ley lines, gets carried by the wind, and even travels through the rays of the sun. Or is it that Aether facilitates the moment of the movement of the wind and the passage of light? Is Aether the reason why the Earth spins and why entities orbit around large, dense objects filled with Aether? Even in this day and age, when Aether is used for so many aspects of our daily lives, there are still countless questions which remain unanswered. Every day, theories are proven or disproven, new concepts are tested, and our understanding of magic grows just a little bit more. One reason why Aether is so difficult to study is because it's not the same as conventional matter. It's neither a wave nor a particle. It cannot be stored in a typical container, such as a jar, yet it may inhabit an ancient artifact. Furthermore, Aether is difficult to observe. Most beings cannot actually see Aether. Even those adept in magic typically just feel its presence like they would a breeze or the heat of summer. Very few people are capable of seeing Aether with their own eyes, and even among those who can, most choose not to do so due to the strain it places on their body. I know this because I'm one of those fortunate few. Whether your background may be, you have without a doubt caught my interest. Please do me the belated honor of allowing me to introduce myself. The creature smiles and tilts its head forward. My name is Hell. I'm not gonna say that. Now, before you get the wrong idea, do note that I am not one of those mischievous foxes playing a prank. I am in fact the real deal. Whatever reference Hale is attempting to make, it is unfortunately lost on me. What the heck is that? I've read about a great number of different demi-humans, but I've never heard of one of those before. I silently make a mental note to research the unfamiliar name later. For the time being, I can only smile warily and attempt to communicate with the creature. Okay. So then, Hale, now that your cover has been blown, will you at least tell me why you're trying to deceive me? I was not trying to do anything. I succeeded with great ease, albeit a temporary feat. You know what I meant. A chuckle escapes Hal's mouthless face. I do indeed. Forgive my deception, but I assure you, I meant no harm. I simply have a soft spot for beautiful creatures such as yourself. Beautiful creatures? I raised an eyebrow in response to Hell's unexpected explanation. You do know that I'm a guy, don't you? What relevance does that have? Beauty does not discriminate by sex. Besides, what harm is there in a woman finding a man attractive? You have a man's haircut for being a woman. I stare at Hal blankly for a moment as I attempt to process her words. My eyes begin to drift from her blank face to her torso, and then her legs. Oh yeah, you know what? She doesn't have like tits or anything. If you could zoom in past that finger, I bet you'd see an Adam's apple. I constantly analyze her body, which I had initially overlooked due to the surprise of seeing her face featureless. You're a woman? Don't get too excited. I may be interested in you, but that doesn't mean I'm easy. You'll have to try hard to win my heart. No, it's not that. I was just... Relax, you don't need to explain yourself. You were so captivated by my lovely face that you paid no attention to the rest of my body. Am I wrong? My face twitches as I try to come up with a retort. Painfully, however, the truth is that she's right. Setting aside the matter of whether it's lovely or not, and whether it can even be called a face to begin with, my attention was indeed initially drawn to only a single part of her body. I'm sorry. Oh, don't worry. I wasn't looking for an apology. I simply wanted the party in which I have taken an interest to know the real me. So is it your face is the real you? The proportion of how face twitches, almost like she's winking. A moment later, Hal walks away, throwing one hand in the air to wave goodbye. Beautiful creatures, huh? Shake my head and try to get Hal's face, or lack thereof, out of my mind. To think that such a person is not only in my grade, but also in my class. This is going to be a rough year, isn't it? Taking another look around the classroom, I sigh and hang my head. After a few moments of silent contemplation, I take a free seat near the front of the classroom and wait for class to begin. Bum bum bum. Green Giant. Okay, even as the bell signifying the beginning of class rings, the noise emitting from my class has not died down. Dampened by the sound-blocking spellcaster on the classroom door, the ringing of the bell doesn't reach the ears of my classmates. None the wiser, they continue to talk amongst themselves happily, socializing with one another without a care in the world. As such, it isn't until a familiar figure enters the classroom that my classmates finally begin to settle down. Eris Monte. I love purple. It's my favorite color. Our grade's advisor, a succubus, and also this classroom's home teacher. Yeah. Okay. Hello again, everyone. For those of you who missed the opening ceremony, my name is Eris Monte. I will be acting as both your homeroom teacher and your grade's advisor for the remainder of this year. It is a pleasure to meet you, and I do hope that we are able to get along. Eris smiles brightly at the class, charming most of the room with ease. Amidst the cheers and swooing, I begin to wonder who would win out of Eris and Hal, should the two ever face off. I feel like it'd be different though, because Hal's is more magical, is where Eris's is more innate. So I think she would win just by the fact it's more innate. So if she put more effort to it, I think it'd be stronger. Before we begin taking attendance, Jesus Christ, there are a few things that I must discuss with you all. As you all know, during your first 2 years at this academy, you are treated more like school children than university students. You are afforded many freedoms, but you will also be closely monitored and expected to strictly abide by academy rules and regulations. You will be guided, but not coddled. Everything you need will not be handed to you on a silver platter. If you feel that you need your hand to be held every step of the way, leave this classroom right now and do not come back. Dropping her cheerful facade, Eris glares at the class as she gives us all an unexpected ultimatum. Grow up or get out. Hard choice considering that most of the students in this class most likely come from non-human settlements far away. You're all sticking around? Then listen closely, because this next part is important. I almost said point. Under no circumstances are you to pester your teachers outside of class. If you need help, ask your classmates or double down on your studies. We're here to teach, not to babysit. We can't give preferential treatment to one student just because they bitch and moan about their own inept. In short, deal with your own problems. We will neither be held accountable nor go to any great lengths to help you. Wow. In response to Eris's words, the students who see charmed continued to cheer. As for the rest of us, however, the looks on our faces are a mix of disbelief and disgust. Is this woman really a teacher? Before anybody can protest or ask any question, Eris opens her terminal and begins taking attendance. How horrifying is such an irresponsible woman truly our teacher? I cannot imagine that an academy as prestigious as this would adopt such an approach towards teaching. This must surely be the will of that woman alone. I think you might be right about that. Unfortunately, I missed both the opening ceremony and our orientation day, so I haven't had the chance to hear any different from the principal or any of the other students. I skipped the orientation day, but as someone who attended the opening ceremony, I'm afraid I can offer you little solace. That succubus did most of the talking. Once she put the majority of our grade under her spell, they refused to listen to any of the other teachers. Worse, our pathetic weakling of a principal didn't even try to stop her. He just nodded his head and allowed her to take control of our entire grade. Ugh. I saw her power at work in the cafeteria earlier, but I didn't realize things had already gotten so out of hand. Considering how many of my classmates aren't human, I'm surprised to learn that Eris's power seems to work without prejudice. It's more interesting because you think some races would be more resistant to certain magics and whatnot. Race and sex have no bearing. Everyone who hears her voice and sees her face falls under her spell. But why was I not affected this time around? Why was Leisha spared? I think you were ready for it, and I think she just knew. Or she's an elf. I don't know. Is it a matter of perception? Is it because we both possess strong control over Aether, and we're unknowingly started to build up a tolerance to such spells? Indeed, I need to look into this. Finding the situation somewhat odd, I had one more peculiarity to my mental list of things to research later on. After doing so, I turned to Lisa. By the way, why did you decide to sit next to me? You've been in a huff every time we've spoken. I figured that I would be the last person you would want to sit next to. Don't think so highly of yourself, human. You do not merit that level of consideration. I sat here because I wanted to. Do I need more compelling reason than that? Her cheeks are all blushed and whatnot. I love it. No, I suppose not. I was just thinking that, hush. Cease your idle thoughts and focus. The lesson is about to begin. After taking attendance, Eris sighs loudly and leans against the podium at the front of the classroom. She's clearly demotivated and seems to possess no desire whatsoever to teach. Back to teaching first years, huh? What do those shitty brats even know? Gonna have to start from the basics of the basics, aren't I? Lisa and I glance at one another, confirming that really did hear out our supposed teacher correctly. Oh well, at least there's one advantage to teaching the basics. Eris turns around and raises her hand. She holds her palm out towards the wall, redirecting the flow of aether such that it creates a large sheet. The large sheet lights up. A large quantity of information is displayed on it. Is that a terminal? I never made one that big myself, but I suppose there's no reason why a person couldn't make one that big. Just what is the teacher planning? Is she just gonna play videos? Like fucking, Bill? Nah, this science guy, but it's like, just magic. Eris draws the attention of the entire class, and for once it's not because she's charmed them. Most people present have never seen a terminal being used before. Furthermore, as far as I'm aware, the only person in this class capable of using them are Eris and I. As such, expanding her terminal to such a great size is a surefire way of Eris captivating the class. After navigating in a seemingly rehearsed fashion, Eris opens a recorded lecture on the origins of Aether. Eris then takes her seat, kicks back, and lets the recording do her job for her. Great. Is it finally over? It seems like it. What a waste of time. If I wanted to watch a recording all lesson, I could have done so from my dorm room. Indeed, not to mention the sheer simplicity of the subject matter, theories pertaining to aether production, the reason why only some races are capable of using magic. She must be joking. Eris was probably hoping to lose some students by either boring them or freaking them out. That is a worrying possibility, and not an unlikely one, given what we just experienced. The lecture focused mainly on studies and theories dating back hundreds of years, from a time when humans' technology could still be considered primitive at best. Graphic descriptions portrayed this section of demi-humans both alive and dead, and even delved into the old belief that eating a demi-human's heart would grant a human their powers. What? For a lecture, which was supposed to be about the basics of aether and spellcasting, it wound up being surprisingly confronting. comforting. What? Setting aside Eris's intent, the lecture itself was fairly interesting. There was quite a few controversial topics covered. I can't imagine just an old academy would expose us to that kind of content on our first day. I'd wager that too was our teacher's doing, rather than the will of the academy. As you suggested a moment ago, it was likely for the sake of horrifying students rather than teaching them. If so, then our teacher is truly detestable woman. Sighing loudly, Lisa stands up from her seat and walks into the aisles. With our teacher gone and our classmates all having risen from their seats, it seems Lisa herself is now eyeing the door. Are you going somewhere? Our next class is in this room too. Shouldn't you stay put? You'd have me remain in this crowded classroom being assaulted by unintelligible bladder from every side? Do not be ridiculous. I shall take my leave and return once the next lesson is about to begin. Leaving behind those few words, Leisha walks over to the door and promptly leaves the room. My classmates, on the other hand, all continue to hang around the classroom, in small groups chatting loudly, just as they were before class began. Leisha has a point. Maybe I should take a break too. I'm certainly not going to get anything done like this. Ooh, I wonder where we're gonna go. We end up in the cafeteria? Oh no, the library. Granted a mere 15-minute break, I make my way to the Academy Library. It's a weird place to go to with only 15 minutes, though. It's a place I've visited many times through scenescapes, filled with yet to be digitized books. The library contains knowledge found nowhere else in the world. Ancient tomes, stone tablets dating back thousands of years, spellbooks from a time when witches reigned supreme, even the occasional cursed or enchanted book. Visiting such a place for the first time, I feel a shiver run down my spine. The legendary Academy Library, at long last, I'm able to come here in person. Although scentscapes are desirable when wishing to experience certain things or to view particular places, scentscapes of a library are simply aggravating. Oh yeah, I bet, because you see a book and you want to read it, you want to touch it, you can't. Physical books yet to be digitized are all around you, and yet you cannot reach out and grab them, nor can you view the contents of their non-existent digital equivalents. It's like staring at a picture of food when you're starving. It will do you no good, and the act amounts to nothing more than self-torture. There are so many books in here. I've been wanting to read. Now that I have access to this library, my studies are going to accelerate like crazy. I may not have time right now, but after classes are over for the day, I'm definitely coming back here. Resisting the urge to open my terminal and read through the long list of books I've been wanting to check out, I instead walked over to the counter. On the wall are the rules of the library, as well as the conditions which must be met in order to borrow a book. It appears that students are expected to register for a library card and use that to identify themselves. Once they're able to use a terminal, they can use their terminal ID card instead. Ooh, so glad I invested my time into learning such a useful spell. I think that'd be the first spell you would learn if it's basically opens the whole world. You know, basically the internet in your palm of your hand. Who needs physical identification when you have a terminal? Briefly patting myself on the back, I soon noticed something odd on the other side of the counter. I can hear pages being torn and the beast-like sound of something being devoured. What the heck? Did a magic beast get into the library? Magic beasts, ordinary animals warped by prolonged exposure to high densities of aether, rarely seek out locations such as this. Most magic beasts don't possess the intellect to read or to understand human language, though libraries offer them nothing of substance. Only highly intelligent, and similarly dangerous beasts will bother to come here. What should I do? I can't allow the books in here to be devoured, but I don't have the strength to fight a high-level magic beast either. I'm gonna inspect it. Right, I need more information before I can come to an educated conclusion. If I don't at least figure out what manner of beast it is, How can I possibly figure out the best way to deal with it? I carefully lean over the counter, inching closer and closer. Gradually, black fur enters my field of vision, followed by metal skin. Metal skin, okay. I move closer still, and by the time I realize that I have overstepped, a pair of crimson's eyes are staring back at me. Ah! Ah! Just good old screaming. I jump back in fright. To my surprise, so does the beast. Its crimson irises are filled not with rage, but with fear. Oh, it's just the first year. You really scared me. Oh, yeah, likewise. I breathe a sigh of relief as I finally see the beast for what it really is, a student, a female student, who is a year or two older than I am. So I wonder if she's standing on many legs, or if she just has like uh, these limbs, those limbs, and then regular legs. Interesting. Like an arachnid. Oop. I clicked on something I did not want to click on. Not a threat, just another peculiar encounter. I'm sorry about that. I heard pages being torn behind the counter, so I thought that a magic beast had gotten to the library. A magic beast, you say? Oh dear, I certainly hope not. Last time a magic beast found its way in here, we lost a significant portion of the true crime section. I love her eyes too. I wonder if that's like her veins on her face. This academy's library has a true crime section? Smiling wearily, I bow my head. At any rate, I'm sorry for startling you. Oh, not at all. If anything, I'm thankful for your attentiveness. If you do see a magic beast, please do not hesitate to take action. Oh, sure. I scratch my head as I try to make sense of the young woman standing in front of me. Leaving aside her personality for the moment, there's still one question I must ask before anything else. So, if there's no magical beast, then the one tearing up books was you. Ah. The girl opens her eyes wide, as if she only just realized that she was caught in the act. Vandalism. No, that is... I was tearing pages out of a book, but it's not what you think. I raise an eyebrow at the girl's failed explanation. So you were destroying library books? Yes, no, I was, but there's a good reason for this, really. Beginning to panic, the girl raises her voice. I was tearing pages out of the book, but only because I was asked to. You were asked to destroy Academy property? By who? By my boss, the Academy's principal. My gaze grows dull, and I slacken my jaw, staring at the girl in front of me in utter disbelief. Don't look at me like that. It's true. My job is to digitize the books in this library and to destroy the books themselves after I'm done. Finally, something that she says makes sense. You're in charge of digitizing the books in here. I still don't think you should destroy them. Whatever. But aren't you a student? In response to my question, the girl stares at me quizzically. After a few moments, her eyes widen as though she just realized something. Oh, I see. You must have just enrolled here, correct? Yes, today is my first day at the academy. Oh, of course. It's that time of year already, isn't it? I suppose that would make me a third-year student now. Suddenly talking in a much brighter tone, the girl happily continues to speak. Your teachers will tell you about this in your second year at the academy, but there are actually many jobs you can apply for while studying here. Students work odd jobs around the academy in order to make a little bit of extra money. It's mostly seen as a way for low-ranking students to raise their allowance. Ah, but don't get the wrong idea. I'm certainly not a low-ranking student. I have my own reasons for doing this, I assure you. Ignoring the girl's final statement, I open my terminal and begin to search for job listings inside the academy. After performing a few searches, however, I still am yet to find anything of the sort. It seems that either first-year students are blocked from accessing this information, or the information cannot be found using a terminal. See, that's why you don't destroy the book. If you can block access, it's a waste to destroy the book. Search all you want, but you won't find anything. You need to receive permission from your grades advisor, where you can access any information about jobs that are available. So the terminal is basically like your access into a mind internet. So if you can control a section to stop other people, can you like break through it? 'Cause there's so many interesting aspects to that. Oh, that would explain it. That's unfortunate. I'm curious, but not curious enough to approach her. Her? My grades advisor, Eris Monte. Ugh. Girl's face warps in disgust as she hears Eris's name. The first year students are stuck with Euros? You poor things? Euros. Oh, my apologies. I should not speak that way about a teacher. Don't worry about it. It's not like I'm gonna tell her what you said. Besides, it's clear how she got that nickname. You don't know the half of it. A look of concern appears on the girl's face as she begins to think about Eris. As a boy, you need to be especially careful around that woman. Rumor has it that she's been caught sending highly inappropriate messages to students late at night. If she's still working here, then I can only imagine that she's at least been barred from teaching, corresponding with students who have completed their first year here. Is there a reason why she'd only be allowed to teach first year students? Is it because they don't have terminals, so she can't send them messages? There is, but wait a second. You were using a terminal a moment ago, weren't you? Ordinarily, I would congratulate you for having accomplished such a feat, but in this case, you may have bitten off more than you can chew. What do you mean by that? Is this something to do with... Oh. At that moment, everything falls into place. You figured it out, haven't you? Eros, I'm not going to call her that, Eris, has likely been forbidden from interacting with those who aren't first-year students, since most of us know how to use terminal. Eros, I don't even know what they mean by that, or how that's offensive. Is it just like a play on her name? Just be an asshole? Well, I mean, she's being an asshole, so eh. That being said, if there was only a single first-year, particularly a male student, capable of using a terminal, then all of her inappropriate communications would be concentrated on that one student. Exactly. I shudder at the thought of being targeted by Eris. While attractive, her attitude and apparent promiscuity leave a lot to be desired. Were I to become the sole target of a succubus, I might never sleep through the night again. That's good to know. But wait a second, I already tried contacting Eris, and she blocked my terminal ID the second I asked for assistance. Doesn't that mean I'm in the clear? Girl shakes her head. Sure, I removed the block the moment she starts to become aroused. I see. If that happens, can't I just block her terminal ID? You're underestimating the staff at this academy. Maybe a hopeless pervert, but she's still a top-class mage. If you really want to ward her off, the best thing you can do is respond to her in a troublesome manner. Ask her questions about the curriculum at this academy or about finding work. If you respond to her depravedly with questions about her studies, she'll soon lose interest. Seriously? Girl shrugs. It worked for the boys in my grade. Then again, she had many more targets at that time, so she could afford to give up more easily. I suddenly find myself very concerned about the nights I'll be spending at this academy. Succubi are capable of acting human during the day, but come nighttime, their true selves emerge. Under the light of a full moon in particular, their lust skyrockets, and they become the sex-crazed beast often portrayed in literature. Thank you for the warning. I'll make sure to take your advice seriously. Oh, don't mention it. I'm glad to be of assistance, so if you could keep quiet about me eating books. Eating books? Oh no, I didn't say that. Tearing books. I said tearing books. Eating books. I wonder if she's eating it to get like magic out of it. I stare at the girl in amazement as she hurriedly corrects herself. Whatever she's been doing in this library, I'm not sure I want to know about it. Okay then. Whatever you're doing in here, I think it's about time I return to class. I'll see you later. Ooh, just one more thing before you leave. The girl brings up her terminal and shows it to me. This may sound presumptuous of me, but would you care to save my contact details? I mean, you can use a terminal after all. I'm sure you're bound to have questions which your classmates cannot yet answer. So we got a third-year friend. Nice. Though some people, such as teachers and scholars, make their terminal ID and personal information freely available, Same that cannot be said about students. For us, the most common way of finding out somebody's ID is by asking them in person, then saving their details on your own terminal. It's inconvenient, but for the sake of preserving one's privacy, it's a small price to pay. Absolutely, that'd be a great help. Let me just open my terminal as well and turn the display around, just as the girl in front of me has. Sable Labeer. Quite an unusual name. It is only at that moment that I realized neither of us asked the other for their name. Jeez, I really need to work on my social skills. Oh well, I guess I'll find out this girl's name in just a second anyway. I check the girl's terminal screen and search for her ID name. Jiro Gok. That's my name, Jiro. Replies happily. No doubt, smiling from ear to ear behind that mask of hers. Alright, Jiro. That makes you the first entry in my contacts list. Or rather, the first terminal ID. Although I have other contacts saved on my terminal, they are mostly the addresses and phone numbers of people incapable of using magic. Seeing as how there are no phones in the academy, however, and mobile phones are strictly forbidden, it's unlikely that I'll ever have a use for them. Hey, I'm honored. I've just added you to Sable, making you number 3 on my list. That's good to know. I won't be able to respond in the middle of class, but if it's any other time, feel free to. Wait a minute. Did you say that you only have 2 other contacts? Yes, I'm afraid so. Teachers and administrators can be found through a quick search, so it's common for students to not bother adding them to their contacts. Same cannot be said about the contact details of students, however, so it's important to keep a record of those who might wish to contact. Ooh. For a third-year student to only have 2 contacts, it's not a good sign. Well, I won't pry, and it's not like I'm in a position to criticize anyway. Contact me whenever you're free. Jiro, I can't promise that I'll respond immediately, but I'll do my best to be prompt. Yes, me too. If you have any questions or problems, don't hesitate to rely on me. Waving goodbye to one another, I part from Jiro as I leave the library with more questions than I had when I entered. Between her masks, the matter of her possibly eating books, and her severely limited number of contacts, I leave with a sense that Jiro might be more dangerous than she let on. I think everyone is more dangerous than they let on here, though. Return to my classroom, moments before our second class of the day is supposed to begin. I think I'll end it there. We went through the first class. We talked to Leisha a bit. We met someone new. Found out that Eris is a sex-crazed being, which you'd think so because of succubus, but that is being racist. So we have yet to see. Oh yeah, we finished the thing with ticks. Oh yeah, I was gonna finish that last episode. So she doesn't like being called a fairy because she is a pixie. Well, I'm gonna end the video then. I hope to see at least a couple people in the next video, or at least see that you viewed the next video. Okay, bye everybody.